Has the American dream been sold for a handful of dollars? As we traverse the timeline of recent events, a concerning pattern emerges, revealing the potential collapse of the U.S. monetary system. But how did we land on the brink of this financial precipice? Let's unravel the thread that has led us to this critical juncture. It all began with an astronomical debt, $38 trillion, a number so staggering it's difficult to comprehend. This debt, coupled with a dramatic rise in federal spending, placed an unprecedented strain on the national economy. Countries like Ukraine and Israel became beneficiaries of the U.S. generosity, while back at home, the economy groaned under the weight of financial mismanagement. Adding fuel to the fire, the southern border crisis sparked a wave of insurrection. Raiding parties comprised of far-right constitutionalists began to attack federal agents and compounds. The situation intensified, and the government found itself embroiled in a civil war. The military was called in, but after several bloody battles they retreated, with many choosing to join the opposing faction. As the domestic situation worsened, the international stage saw a significant shift. The formation of the BRIC nations' central banking system backed by gold began to undermine the once mighty dollar. Oil contracts for the better part of a century settled in U.S. currency started to shift away. The dollar, once a global symbol of stability, was becoming worthless in many corners of the world. The U.S. president made adamant statements. The U.S. has to get its house in order, he said, promising to use all resources at his disposal to bring the country back in line. But actions speak louder than words, and the government's bankruptcy, inflation, and supply chain issues did little to restore trust or credibility. Federal employees, including elected officials, began to abandon their posts, stating they could no longer work for free with no resolution in sight. Government services ceased, leaving millions to fend for themselves. The elderly and infirm were left particularly vulnerable. However, amidst this turmoil, a glimmer of hope emerged. The cryptocurrency space began to thrive. A small group of crypto owners and users found a way to trade among themselves, offering products and services based on cryptocurrency exchanges. But this small beacon of hope is overshadowed by escalating violence and growing ranks of insurgents. The government, once a beacon of democracy and stability, is left deaf, dumb, and blind. States like Florida, Texas, and South Carolina have formally moved away from recognizing Washington as a valid authority. Many local officials back efforts to dissolve the federal government completely, envisioning a board of governors to manage the military and other nationwide infrastructure. If this situation continues, it's not difficult to predict a further escalation of violence and unrest. The government's loss of credibility could lead to its dissolution, and the U.S. monetary system could collapse entirely. The future of the American dream hangs in the balance, sold for a handful of dollars.